Okay, I'm gonna tell a little story about this guy I know named Mike. Mike Perfetto. I first met Mike when I was in high school at Hills West in 11th grade. We had gym class together, and we ended up hitting it off and basically becoming friends. And we'd always spend gym class just laughing, having a good time, making fun of everybody, making fun of our goofy ass gym teacher, Mr. Handburger. Of course, we referred to as Mr. Hamburger. We found hilarious. And even though we never chilled outside of school, I considered him a friend. And then he moved away after a few months to Smithtown. And I didn't see him again for about a year and a half. So now it's May 2002. School had just let out about 2 o'clock, 2:15. And I had a crush on this girl named Christina Wynn. How the fuck I didn't know she was a lesbian? I was probably the only kid in school that didn't know this. Shows how much I had my head up my ass, right? But I had a crush on this chick. Now, I had recently gotten my first car, Dodge Stratus, so I didn't have to take the bus anymore. But she still took the bus, and I wanted to go and hit on her, pretty much. So I tried to find her bus. There's like fucking 50 buses on the bus platform. I couldn't find it. But, so, disappointed, I start walking to my car. But again, it's the end of May. It's like 90 degrees outside. And I'm thirsty, so I want to get a drink. It's incredible how life is a game of inches. How a single, tiny little decision can change your life forever. Like the most innocuous shit at the time. You never think anything about it. You look back like, oh my God, that changed my life. Now, to get to my car in the student parking lot, I had to walk in a straight line across the bus platform. Again, I decided to get a drink of water. So I go and make a right to go back inside the school, use the water fountain. As soon as I make the right, who comes walking out of the school but Mike and Rachel, my future best friend and girlfriend. Yeah. and incredibly, this was the only time ever that he revisited Hills West. He'd come down there to hang out with Rachel, and if I'd gone straight, I never would have met him, never would have hooked up with Rachel, and my whole life would have been drastically different. I wouldn't even have joined the army, right? There's one decision to get a drink, got me in the army 5 years later, in 2007. Yeah. Because fucking Rachel ended up getting me the job at Albert's Pizza. From there, I went to Delisa, if you've heard that story, a casket story. And from Delisa, this guy, Carmine, ended up leaving. One of the drivers became a limo driver. I thought that was cool and wanted to do it too. They wouldn't hire me, so I figured, well, let me drive a taxi. So I end up at Orange and White, and I meet my army recruiter, and the rest is history. So, no water fountain, no Rachel, no army. Shit is insane. So, and I had a huge crush on Rachel for like at least a year and a half. She was fucking beautiful at the time. Like the type of girl every guy in school wanted. And she'd wear these sexy mini skirts and heels to school. And I'd see her in the hallway like, oh God, I fucking want her so bad. She's so hot. Be fucking really careful what you wish for sometimes. Yeah. But three of us start chilling, and neither of them has a car. I do. So like, oh, we could just drive back to my house and chill. And Mike was already a huge pothead. He got into it when he was in Smithtown. Rachel just started getting into weed too. And I'd only smoked twice in my life thus far, but I wanted to do it again. So we go back to my house and start smoking weed. And I didn't even get that high that particular time. A little bit. People had told me that the first few times you don't really get stoned. turned out to be true. So, me and Mike, again, just like in gym class, we hit it off again, and we start chilling probably a good 4 or 5 days a week, right? And he was basically smoking me up every single day. I didn't even pay for any of the weed I smoked in the first few months. So basically every day after school, and then after I graduated high school, I would drive right to his house, go to his basement where he lived, the basement of his aunt's house, and just get high as fuck. You know, they say you never get as high as you do when you start using a given drug. Never as good as the first. Damn, bro. I was so high. And Mike lived in this, like, piece of shit, dark, dank, unfinished basement in his aunt's house. And he didn't even have any lighting in this place. It was like one fucking crack light bulb hanging from a ceiling. He didn't have walls. He didn't have insulation. Nothing. It was just like wood beams with nothing inside them. Like when you're still building a house. And every time I'd sit in there, I'd look around and be like, man, what the fuck? Why does he live like this? This is disgusting. Like, ew. Like, Mike, what the fuck? And, you know, he talked in this, like, kind of weird voice. Like, yo, what's up? I swear to God, it's exactly how this dude talked. And, man, he loved weed, right? You want to talk about a pothead? Weed was basically his life. Because he had, like, almost no friends besides me. No life. He'd sit in his fucking basement on a computer 24 hours a day. The only life he had was online. If he didn't have the internet, he probably would have fucking killed himself. The internet and weed. And when we would go to pick up weed, this guy would get so excited, right? I swear to God, he would literally go, yeah, man, we're gonna do drugs, man. I'm not joking. He would really say that exactly like that. And, oh my God. So, this guy came from this fucked up piece of shit, like white trash loser family. Like, Mike has basically never done shit in his entire life. Like, he's like a born loser. But he was actually one of the most successful people in his family, which is pretty fucking scary. Like, his dad was like the biggest idiot and loser you're ever gonna meet. His mom was just she was always nice to me. I always liked her. But she was kind of a fucking cunt. I mean, I guess you're a cunt when you're 40-something years old and you start hooking up with your son's best friend, basically in front of him. This guy, Anthony, he was friends with. Anthony was his best friend before me. And she literally starts fucking this 16-year-old guy, not even making any effort to hide it, right? Like, right in front of Mike, she would just flaunt this in his face. And I'm like, holy shit, that's your son. What did he ever do to you? That is fucked. And I hung out with the three of them like a number of times. And I don't know why Mike didn't tell Anthony, like, get the fuck away from my mom before I kill you. I guess he was just a big fat pussy. Oh, and Mike also happened to be short. This guy's like 5'2", weighs like 200-something pounds. Literally looks like the Penguin from Batman in the face. Certain people gave him that as a nickname. And he looked like a cross between Eric Cartman and a fucking penguin. Oh, God. I'll never forget this time where there were these guys, right? These three brothers, the Sharkies. They're from Stony Brook. And the Sharkies all sold weed together. Had their own little business. And Mike had bought off them several times. And he kept telling me how they were real assholes to him. I'm like, oh, how bad could they be? Like, we're with these guys for over an hour, and they just kept constantly referring to him as Penguin the whole time. Hey, Penguin! Penguin! Yo, what's up, Penguin? Hey, Penguin, you hear me? Penguin! And he looked like he was about to fucking cry. Either cry or just jump out of the fucking car and kill himself. He looks so, like, pissed off and depressed. That's only because, again, it was true. He really did look like the Penguin. And this guy never had a girl in his entire life. Not even a prostitute. Nothing. The closest thing he came to getting laid was when Glenn basically bribed his girlfriend, Glenn's girlfriend Colette, into letting Mike touch her titties over her shirt for like 45 seconds one time. And that was about it. He's never even shown any interest in chicks. Like nothing. I think the guy's asexual or some shit. I have no idea. I mean, oh my God. And he had this autistic fascination with the word cheese. I don't know what it was about that fucking word, but he would always say it all the time. And he would attach cheese to people's names. Yo, David Cheese, what's up, man? Or yo, I miss Rachel Cheese. And he had this kind of like psycho crush on Rachel. Like most girls wouldn't touch the guy with a 10-foot pole. Especially back when she was hot. I don't know how I got her. But hell no, she would never hook up with him. But he continued to carry this fantasy well beyond the last time he ever... Like, the last time he ever saw Rachel was maybe 2005. In, like, 2019, he's still talking about her. Like, he just saw her yesterday. Like, yo, I miss Rachel. And, you know, over the years, Rachel had turned into a complete and total psychopath. Like, this was the same chick that literally picked up a knife and stabbed her own father and tried to kill him. And they had to rush him to the hospital and he almost died, right? She almost got charged with murder. 2nd-degree murder, right? And she got really, really ugly. I mean, to the point where she looks like... You know, she's in her 30s. She looks like she's in her mid-50s. She looks older than her fucking, like, 58-year-old mom. I don't know if it's drugs, alcohol, what? She's a major cokehead, all that. And yet, he still had this idealized utopian version of Rachel in his mind. And she was also a raging cunt. She used me. She abused me. She was awful. I don't think she ever cared about me for one day of the 4 years we were together. She was just straight out of hell. And I'm like, Mike, stop bitching that I stole your Rachel. Oh, you stole Rachel, man. No, I didn't, Mike. And so what if I did? I saved you from 4 years of hell. I took all that shit, took one for the team, so you didn't have to. And he just kept going with it. It's like, at a certain point, I just started ignoring him. And also, this guy was so clueless. We've all known one of these people that just fucking sucks at directions. Like, they couldn't find their own dick if they stuck their hand in their pants. This is basically Mike. This is a guy who never left his house, never went anywhere or did anything. The only time he ever left his house was to buy food and drugs. And occasionally he'd go to school. He actually got an associate's degree, which he never used. But one time, he's living in Huntington at the time. And we're literally 3 blocks from the guy's house. And he's like, yo, where are we? Mike, we're around the corner from your fucking house. You don't know where you are? No. Are you... God, you are fucking useless. How do you not... What the fuck? Oh, man. And he had this crazy fascination with snails. Right? This is one of the weirder things. Like, most people, you know, they love cats, dogs, whatever. No, this guy thought snails were the greatest animal that ever existed. Like Mike, it just fucking sits there and doesn't do anything. Even snakes slither around. It doesn't even move. It's like a rock. Why do you want these as pets? And of course, he referred to them as cheesy snails.
Like, yo, man, it's my cheesy snails.
And he had this upset, like, you want to talk about some weird ass life ambitions? One of his life ambitions was to own a fucking African land snail. For those of you who don't know, it is this species of snail from Africa that grow very, very large, like 20, 30 times larger than the average snail. You saw this thing, you would probably freak. I had no idea they could get this big. Not only are they huge, but they are really, really invasive. I'm talking like a couple of snails get into the environment, these African land snails, they can literally destroy the environment. They're illegal to import into the U.S. If the government finds out you're doing it, you will be getting a knock on your door.
And he's trying to get my help. Like, yo, can you, like, order me a land snail?
No, Mike! I'm not fucking ordering you an African land snail. You have money. Do it yourself. Why would I help you with weird ass thing to ask a friend? And then one day I get this call from him, and
He's like, yo, man, the government. I'm like,
what? What happened?
they raided my house.
Who did?
The Department of Agriculture. They, like, raided my house and took all my snails, man.
Like, are you fucking serious? You're like the first person ever to get raided and have your fucking snails confiscated. You can't make this up. Why can't you be like a drug dealer? Why can't you have your house raided for drugs or weapons like a normal criminal? Only you, Mike, would have your house raided for snails. And I start hysterically laughing at him.
He's like, yo, it's not funny.
I'm like, Mike, this is like the funniest thing ever.
Okay, I guess it's kind of funny.
And Jesus Christ, so I did mention that he only smoked weed for about the first 4 or 5 years I knew him, right? And then for some reason he gets into heroin and other hard drugs, heroin, pills. I'm in the army. I barely spoke to him for a year or two. Kind of drifted apart a little bit. And then I find this out. And he goes from a penguin to this like skinny fucking crackhead. By the next time I saw, he was so skinny I walked into his house and didn't recognize him. For a second I literally looked right past him, like, where's Mike? Holy shit! This guy must have lost a good 110 pounds. And I mean, he still looked like shit. He just looked like shit and he was skinny instead of fat. There's just no saving this guy's looks. He was just always going to look like shit, no matter what. And in 2003, I tried coke for the first time with Rachel. Who else? And I told Mike about it. And this guy starts getting on my fucking case.
Like, yo, that's so bad, man. You can't be doing that. You're gonna become a drug addict.
Like, Mike, I did it one time. I'm not going to be an addict. Trust me. I never became a drug addict. I always just dabbled. Every drug I tried, I did it 1 or 2 times and I stopped. Still not an addict. Still just smoke weed to this day. But he just keeps getting on my case about doing coke. And then finally he goes,
yo, you should write me an essay about drugs, man.
Like, this motherfucker tried to make me write him an essay on the dangers of drug use. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Blow me, bro. I'm writing you shit. Write my dick. And then I find out that he's doing heroin. And never forgetting that, I go, hey, Mike, why don't you write me a fucking essay, asshole? You hypocritical cocksucker. And he had nothing to say to me. Nothing at all. Jesus Christ. And now the guy lives out in Shirley with this crazy fucking psycho named Eddie, who we're all pretty sure is either in the mafia or mob connected somehow. You know, when you know someone long enough, you just kind of get that feeling. He's been living in this place for 6 years. Now apparently he's doing coke on top of the heroin, which his mom supplies him with. His mom's been living with him for the last year or two, Lenora. And, I mean, he smokes, he does coke, heroin, he never exercises, he's fat and eats like shit. He never goes outside. I mean, sedentary lifestyle. And I tell myself all the time, like, this guy's gonna be dead by the time he's fucking 40. If not sooner. I mean, he's almost 35 now, and yeah. Heading down a bad fucking path. Bad path. And I ended up having to block his ass a number of times because he could just get so annoying. And the weird thing was that in person, he was usually totally chill. We almost never had a fight or an argument in person. But on the computer, Jekyll and fucking Hyde, son. He would turn into one of the most irritating human beings you'd ever meet. Like, he would do what I call serial typing, which is just type and type and type and type and type, regardless of whether you even responded. Like, he'd type a couple messages. I didn't feel like talking to him. I'd go away from the computer. I'd come back an hour later, and you know how it says notification? It's like 3 messages, 5 unread. It'd be like 176 messages. What the fuck, Mike? What is wrong with you? And even when I purposely, like, I told him, Mike, I'm ignoring you. I'm not listening or reading anything you're writing. And he'd still type. Like, he was so desperate to even pretend he was talking to somebody that even if he knew he was talking to a wall, he didn't care. Like, this guy was just that fucking pathetic. And I love the guy, and I guess part of me still does. But I blocked him again about 8 or 9 months ago. I haven't talked to him since. I don't ever really plan on talking to him again. All the information I get is from my friend Glenn. Fucking pussy just doesn't have the balls or the heart to cut Mike off. And, yeah. Basically one of the biggest wastes of fucking life I've ever met. And this guy's a computer genius, right? This guy can do basically anything with a computer. Like, the type of shit he can do, I can't even begin to understand. This guy could have a $100,000 a year job like that if he wanted to. Even has a degree. But he's just so fucking lazy and entitled and narcissistic. He's too good to even get a job. He'd rather be on Social Security, which he is. The guy's on SSI basically for life. His mom and SSI pay all his bills. And yeah, that's basically it. Man. And like I said, I don't think I'm ever going to speak to the guy again. He could die any day now, and I'm not going to feel too bad about it. This has been going on for years, and he's pissed me off so bad I don't really give a shit anymore. It is what it is. I mean, we were good friends for years, and we had a lot of really good times and good memories together. But at a certain point, you just get pushed to the point where you can't deal with it anymore, and that's basically me and Mike. So, yeah, that was the story of my friend Mike, 20 years, the great Mike Perfetto. What a guy. What a fucking guy.